Baruch Hashem, Mishpacha. We've come through the high holy days, and I reflect on the time of when I made Teshuvah and came to believe in Yeshua, the Moshiach. It was the high holy days. It was in 1977, and I had graduated the Juilliard School and was doing every crazy job I could to keep body and soul together. And I was struggling because I knew something was very seriously wrong with me. I had involved myself in a cult called Transcendental Meditation. It's a cult, friends. It's a cult. Make no mistake. And great darkness came into my soul. And I had a job at the High Holy Days. And I was singing at the Jewish Center at Kings Highway. The Lord was doing all kinds of miracles, opening all kinds of doors to me. Humble jobs, but they paid the rent. Even the rent was cheap in those days. And in our case, it still is, Baruch Hashem. And so I was working at Brewburger. It doesn't exist anymore. And it was located near Bloomingdale's at 57th Street and Lexington Avenue. And I was a hostess. I would seat people to get their burger. And then I would have a spinach salad at lunch. The bartender was a Jewish boy from Brooklyn who had a black band around his arm because his father had died. And he was Orthodox. Can you believe? He's an Orthodox boy and he's working as a bartender. Whatever. And I had been crying out to God, whoever he was. Whoever he was. I knew the God of the Baptists. I knew the God of the Catholics. I had even made myself familiar with the God of the Jews. But I was reading a group of sermons called The Grave in the Garden. And it was written by the former United States Senate chaplain, Reverend Peter Marshall. And actually, I think the book was Mr. Jones Meet the Master, and the sermon was The Grave in the Garden. And I was reading it because I struggled with the resurrection. I really struggled. It's like, how can he be alive? How can he be real? And so I was reading his account of when Miriam comes to the tomb and she finds it empty. The tomb is still empty, people. The tomb is empty forever. And Yeshua tells us today, because I live, you shall live also.